Hi everyone, my name is Natalie and I like to make videos on my knitting and my gardening and similar such endeavours. Now, I like to keep things regular on this channel, so regular uploads, but it has been about 5 to 6 weeks since I last uploaded a video. The reason being is that I have just been super busy, and the reasons why hopefully will become more apparent later on in this video. But I have some time today, so I thought I will update you on some of my knitting projects. Now, I currently have 6 projects on the needles, but I will only show you 4 of them today. Let's begin with the oldest project on my project rotation. I have finished the body on my modern mudcloth sweater. The pattern is by Chinua Matthews, and long-term viewers or even casual viewers of this channel will know that this project has been on my needles since February 2024. So just a little bit over a year. And yeah, so I have finished the body and it fits perfectly. So now I just have to do the sleeves. I needed a break from embarking on the colorwork sleeves, so I have put a pin in this project for a few weeks, and hopefully as the weather gets a bit cooler, and hopefully this sweater will be finished by September, October time this year. Fingers crossed. I'm hoping that the sleeves aren't as involved as the body was, but at the end of the day, it will be still following a chart where each of the rows or the rounds are completely different. So I will still need to sit in front of the chart like I had to do for the body. The yarn that I use for this project is the woolly knit cone. Um, so the black held double and also the cream nip held double to create a DK weight yarn. As single weight, it is a fingering weight yarn. Next we have a impromptu cast on that I started, I would say, like 3 or 4 weeks ago. In my last episode, I showed you my romanticist bandana knit from some tencel yarn that I had because I am working outdoors in all weather. And so I wanted a bandana that I could just use on my head to protect my hair. And yeah, so the romanticist bandana fit the bill, and I have been using it loads at work. So I just wanted a plain stockinette bandana. So I'm using the remainder of my tencel yarn just to improvise a bandana. I have used the premise or the shape of the romanticist bandana, but I am just doing it in stockinette. So as I am knitting flat in knit and the next round in purl to get the stockinette stitch fabric. For the first stitch, I wanted to have a neat edge, so I am just slipping the first stitch. But so it works on this side, but it doesn't work slipping the. I don't know what happened there. Slipping the. Oh yeah, sometimes it looks all right sometimes it doesn't. So maybe I just haven't been consistent with slipping the first and last. No, it's not the last stitch. It's always the first stitch that I slip, not the last. So yeah, I don't know. I wanted to try. So it works here, but it doesn't look as neat on this side. So I don't know what is going on there. But anyway, yeah. So I haven't actually worked on this for a while. I just kind of lost a bit of steam with it, but I would like to have the finished item, but there's no rush. So I will maybe work on it when it's a bit too hot to have wool in my hands. But even though the weather has been pretty decent, like mid 20s at the moment, I'm still knitting with wool. I don't really have that. I don't really get too hot to knit with wool. Obviously, I like to wear my knits, especially when I'm filming. But today, I have just been in the garden and I've just come in from a dog walk. And so it wasn't appropriate to actually wear wool, but I never have the issue of not wanting to knit with wool. So at least not this year, at least not yet. Okay, so the next project that I have been working on is the Talvinin sweater. So um, this is by Caitlin Hunter, and I think it is my third Caitlin Hunter sweater. I just really love her designs, even though sometimes there are issue people find that there are issues with the yolks being very deep. Um, I guess because the designs are so involved that I think they take up the majority of the sweater. So therefore, the sleeves are split for a bit later. So I have still a few rounds to complete before I split for the sleeves. And I wanted to do something different in that I used a different yarn for one of the eagles or the birds. And to be honest with you, I kind of regret that decision because there is a little bit of puckering around that particular bird, that particular colourwork section. So I'm hoping that it will block out okay I once I'm finished, because yeah, I'm carrying the yarn over over this. So I'm carrying the brown yarn over, and I think that's what's causing the puckering, but I'm hoping that it'll block out okay. I would have liked the orange bird to be a little bit off center. When you're here, so you start knitting all the birds, it's not really clear which bird will be in the middle. So I misjudged that. But so this is where the center is. So if I continue like that, it is slightly off center. So I'll be happy with that if it works out like that. So I'm hoping that this is how it will sit, which is not centered at all. I don't think actually this sweater has a centered bird, so I should be okay with that. Let's hope. But otherwise, it's a straightforward knit. Yes, the colour work goes on for quite some time. I haven't actually knit on this for a while. No reason, it's just that there has been another project which has held my attention a little bit more. But before we go on to that, let me tell you the yarn that I've been using. So for the brown, again, some woolly knit cone in this dark brown, 100% British wool, but this is the fingering weight yarn, which I'm holding double. And the main color brown is some drops Lima, which is a DK weight yarn, and the wool content, sorry, the content is 65% wool and 35% alpaca. It's a very nice yarn. So I'm looking forward to having this sweater. It's the feel of it is woolly yet buttery, and I love when wool and alpaca come together because it has that slight oily buttery feeling that I really enjoy. And for the orange highlighted bird, I'm using blue sky wool stocked in this burnt orange color. There is another contrast color, this burgundy, which is an old woolly knit cone. No, this isn't woolly knit cone. This is a similar brand, yarn on cone, which is also 100% British wool, similar weight, held double. So I'm just using that up because I've had it for quite some time. So that's that. And then the project that I have been mostly working on, the pattern has been in my library for, I would say, like 4 or 5 years. And I'm only just getting round to knitting it. The reason being is that I had some yarn. I had some yarn that I wanted to use for it. So the yarn that I wanted to use for it is this Ul Centrum yarn. So it's a Swedish yarn that I first picked up on a trip to Sweden, and it's super rustic, very minimally processed, and I think when I picked it up in store, there was only like one or two skeins of yarn in the shop, but I instantly fell in love with it. They have a website, so when I got home, I ordered more, and I used this yarn as the main yarn on my soldotna. Um, what I will say about this is that even though it's minimally processed, it's fingering weight yarn, but judging by some areas of my soldotna, it's not the most robust yarn. But I bought a sweater's quantity. I bought enough to make this sweater. Now the pattern I'm talking about is the heirloom sweater by Fable Knitwear. So this pattern calls for a fingering weight yarn held with a lace weight yarn. And because I loved this yarn so much, I didn't really want to pair it with a lace weight yarn. I wanted for it to sing on its own. So I just spent ages procrastinating, thinking, oh, should I just adjust the gauge so that I can only use this yarn? Should I get more yarn and hold this double, or what should I do? In the end, when I saw the way that this yarn held up, so in that it doesn't hold up well on its own, um, I just decided to bite the bullet and purchase some lace weight yarn to hold with it for the hair, so that I can knit the heirloom. So I opted for alpaca silk, um, and holding it together. So it's slightly lighter than the wool centrum. I actually prefer alpaca silk than kid silk mohair. I just think it's softer and more enjoyable to knit with. But anyway, that's just my preference. And the fact that it's affordable is right up my bag. Anyway, those are my yarn choices, and this is my progress. Hmm. Set in sleeve construction, you also have the option for um, a subtle puff sleeve or a exaggerated puff sleeve. So I went with the subtle puff, and you start with a sort of like a funnel neck or a mock neck, mock turtleneck construction. So it's open with the intention of uh, attaching buttons and then having 3 buttons as the neck closure. So that's ready for me to pick out some buttons. And then the design has this lace work pattern or lace work panel that runs the length of the front of the body. So I think that that is a very cute design. When I first purchased the pattern and had it sitting in my library for quite a while, another reason being is that I was a little bit intimidated by the lace panel, because I had attempted some simpler lace work patterns that I always messed up. I always made, glaring mistakes with. So I didn't want to attempt the heirloom blouse and make, a glaring mistake right down the middle of the panel, which in my view would ruin the whole sweater. So I'm a little bit more confident with lace work now. So I thought the time is now, buy the yarn and just start the the um the sweater. It has a zero ease fit. I love the idea of this sort of Edwardian style sweater. All of Fable knitwear patterns end up being very, very cropped. So she would probably start the ribbing here, but obviously I like my all of my sweaters to hit the hip. So I will probably keep going for a bit. I haven't actually checked where I have done all my body shaping and the decreases and everything like that. So it is just a matter of continuing in pattern until I get to the length that I want and then starting the ribbing. So I have really been enjoying this. Part of my enjoyment is the yarn, which just feels beautiful to knit up. And this is the back. I don't have any idea on what kind of buttons I will opt for yet. So in a lot of my videos, I have had like mending sections or mending segments, and I've always said that I wanted to learn how to mend visibly. So to learn how to make a design from a hole, or make a feature out of out of your mending, you know? So I bought this book by Flora Flora Collingwood Norris. I have been following this lady's work for a long time on Instagram, and I decided to purchase her book. So it's a really comprehensive book. She goes through like darning techniques and embroidery techniques of mending. So it's really interesting. And I think her mends are super beautiful. And yeah, it's all just gorgeous. If you go through the process of making your own clothes, knitting or crocheting your own items, your own garments, why not go that extra step on learning how to mend it in a way that prolongs the beauty of your handiwork? Is, you know, that essentially is how I feel about that. So yeah, I'm just showing you pictures of some of the really beautiful things that she has in here. Um, how gorgeous is that? You know, it kind of makes you want to get holes in your knitwear so that you can mend it in this way. So I have a basket of things that I need to mend. Um, so some of it I have done already, and I've kept it. So this was my very first attempt. So not great, but not terrible either. So this is not a hand knit. This is just a cashmere jumper that I wear loads, and oh, that's actually mended, so that can go back into my wardrobe. I've also done some old pants in the American sense, not in the British sense, in the crotch. The reason being is I could these trousers were really cheap, right? But they are super comfortable, and I'm not ready to let them go yet. So I'm slowly working on practicing some of my mending. Don't judge me here because I also need to do that. Some of my mending. So it's a good way for me to practice. And then if I succeed, I have breathed new life into these old trousers. And if I fail, then, you know, but it's a great practice piece. It's not the ideal material because these are not really knitted, but I just see it as a way to practice this. Um, so I also have this backpack that I mended. I think when I bought it quite cheaply, and I needed to do a bit of mending with the strap, I think. But I have been using it a lot, so I need to mend this pocket here. So this is the perfect bag to practice some of the, you know, more creative techniques to match in with the existing fabric. I have been slowly working through the techniques here in this book. I highly recommend um, this designer. I don't know, this artist, this book. She also does like workshops, like in-person workshops, and also um, online workshops. But the online workshop I really wanted to attend, but currently it was a little bit out of my budget, so I opted for the book. that I can refer to whenever I need to. So let's see how I get on with that. And it's definitely a skill that I would like to um, to develop, because I think having the skill to be able to mend your existing stuff, whether it's store bought or whether it's, the stuff that you've made, is like next level, So yeah, so that is all I have for the knitting aspect. I have also been working a lot in the garden. So, for those of you who are interested in that, stay tuned. And I would also like to introduce you to a new member of the family. It's not a human member, but it's another reason why it's taken me so long to jump in front of the camera, because it's just another demand on my time. So we decided to adopt a young cat. She's a rescue from our local RSPCA. So we have a cat, and I've had him and his sister for just over 10 years. And they were my cats in Spain, and I brought them over to the UK. And sadly, we lost his sister last year, like this time last year. We kind of felt that AJ needed a feline companion. So I wanted to rescue a cat, because there are loads of cats that need loving homes. So we got Sig. Her name is Sig, or Siggy, and her full government name is Sigmund Void. Part of the demands on our time has been to get her settled at home, with our other cat, with our dog, with our tortoise, and just the rhythm of the house. So that has been a lot of work, fun to add another member of our household. We are very big animal lovers around here, so we needed a girl. Before adding Ziggy, I literally lived in a house with four, no less than four species of male. Too much, too much. So we had to redress the balance by adding another girl into the household. It's been a while since I updated you. Not gonna lie, life has been a bit crazy last few weeks. Very busy. But I have to go now to run some errands. And part of the reason why life has been a little bit more busy around here is because in my last episode, I told you, I think it was my last episode or maybe one before, I started a new part-time job. Now, this job has me working for a local nature conservation, and it used to be an old farm, and part of this area includes a big old estate house. Part of the estate, there is a potager, a allotment. So in the UK, an allotment is an area of land where the people can plant their own fruits and vegetables, and you get it from the local government, and you are able to grow your own produce. And I think in the US you guys call it like a community garden or something like that, where each person or each household gets a small plot. Now, when I first started working for this job, I spotted this area, and some of it needed weeding and some of it was being used by one of the residents of the cottages on the estate. So I asked my employer if it was possible for me to use one of these plots for my own use. And I was granted permission. So that means that I often have to go up there on my days off and garden it and take care and weed it and just water it and things like that, especially as we are not getting any rain this spring season in the UK, so things have been pretty dry. So it means that is an extra little bit of work for me. However, it has been really great because it means a lot of the time I can take my dog or I go up there with my husband, and it has been quite enriching to just have extra space to garden for my overflows of seedlings. Now, where I live, I have a lot of land, but a lot of it is not arable. And I have quite a small garden. So it means that having that extra space to grow vegetables is very welcome, and it's like a bonus, a work bonus, you know. So I have to go up there at some point today, so I thought I would show you around a little bit, and I just have to go and do a few other bits first. So let's catch up once I'm at the plot. So I'm very much in my land girl era here. I love it so much. So let me show you around. So this is what I have access to plant in. So let's go inside. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. and let's not leave it too long next time. See you soon. Bye.